That was a pretty good one.
I have a hard time getting used to that goddamn push button. I'm always reaching for that key to pick up here.
Is yours shut off the stop sign?
Yeah, but I got a button, I can shut it off.
Yeah, I can turn mine off too, but it has to be a certain temperature outside before it'll do it. Mine will, has to be.
My car has to be warmed up enough, otherwise it's cold enough.
They told me it wasn't gonna have it in because of the chip shortage. That's the one thing I did.
I don't like it because I always take my car out.
I get driving, I'll reach over and I'll flip it, so.
It's the first thing I do after I start my car is reach down and push that button.
I was kind of pissed when I first got it.
The lane departure thing, I don't like it.
I don't
Seems
like
that
the
thing is-
automatic.
I think it makes you ride the center
I
line
don't know.
more than
Does it
I
tell you
like
on
to
your
ride the
readout
center.
how
much
line.
you
I
got?
like to ride the outside. I'm an extra foot. I like that a little bit better.
I don't like the thing, mine, like if you get too close to the car in front of you, it's like slows you down or whatever. I don't like that because.
You like
when
riding
I-
people's tails?
No, but when I go to pass, I get right
Yeah,
up there
I
and
need-
then I go around them
All my
and
cars.
my.
You
head
can
is-
set that distance up.
Well, when I did that.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Somehow.
That may be.
I don't think it'll get you 3 feet, but
All the miles I drive.
My sister-in-law has that on one, and she was in Kansas City. The first time she ever drove it, she drove it in real heavy traffic. She got on the phone and her husband was following with the other car. And she says, "There's something wrong with this new car. I about got it floored and I can't go anywhere." Because she was tailgating somebody so hard the car was holding her back.
yeah.
You know, when I talked to you Friday, I was like, oh, that's a long agenda. Now, like, when I was looking through the packet, I'm like, it's not a long
Yeah,
agenda,
there's
really.
a lot of different things, but nothing that should take, I'd say the ambulance will probably be the biggest
Yeah.
discussion.
I had it last week.
Hopefully not.
Well,
did
I
it the
mean-
week before.
Everything else is just kind of a,
I'll do it.
We need to just get a
I thought we were
calendar.
gonna do that.
I wasn't going to till I called him,
But you didn't do this big one.
no,
You can do it.
I'm fine.
You're signing me up for all sorts of stuff today.
Meeting tonight, do the newspaper today.
Whatever.
Wednesday,
No, it's
like golf, supposed to be 70.
I might be able to. We'll see. That's about the only
This
day I
way.
have something going on this week.
maybe.
Thursday, St. Patty's Day, and the basketball playoffs.
I gotta go to Region 12 that day. See how the IF one turns out tomorrow. I will not be at CADC tomorrow.
Okay, so I gotta make. They want a report from us?
Huh?
During the agenda, they want a report from us?
I don't know. I didn't read anything because I wasn't gonna go, so.
Yeah, so I gotta make sure I get all that.
See, I got it. See, I got an email from her. Right, really.
9 o'clock.
So I gotta make sure I get all that funeral time now.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everybody. All right, first item is to approve the agenda.
I do have an addition for an interfund transfer. It's gonna be moving some money from local option into the jail capital project. Remaining $73,500. That's in order to pay that retainage you probably saw on Monday.
It was 73, what?
73.5. Otherwise, our check will be no good.
With that addition.
I'll second that motion.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we're gonna be looking for approval of the Monday, March 7th minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Now it's like,
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed? Motion carries. First item on the agenda is to approve payables.
So part of these payables is also that's retainage to Beatty, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be page 9, kind of middle of the
Mhm.
page.
So that's basically pays everything except for $23,000.
My only concern would be with having all those finishing and finalizing all those change orders that were discussed and those not being done yet is a concern of mine.
You want to make it one lump sum and done.
Well, and just finalize.
Yeah.
The thing is, and I know Beatty's probably want their money, but we pay that, it takes a little bit of our leverage away from us. And I'm not saying Beatty's issue. But I question if we should pay an architect or them anymore until we get everything resolved.
This included?
Was his included in that 73,000?
Is who-
The
Yes.
architect,
Oh, no.
or was
No.
just, there was
The
just
interfund
Beatty?
transfer.
The interfund transfer.
The
was just-
interfund
was to help
transfer.
cover Beatty.
Yeah, it'll be for baiting and then it'll be for the shy, what we owe them, but we don't owe them that much. Like, what did I
Is that
say?
to cover
when you
this
were-
518,000 or not?
Yeah, because right now, there's only about 490-some thousand in that account at UBI. In order to write a check out of there, we need to make sure there's funds in there. And when we did the budget amendment, we moved 73.5. That was my estimate of what we would still owe.
So you're saying if we transfer the 73.5, there will be enough to include payment for these expected change orders? If
No.
No,
No, it'll cover what's on the contract bill, not including, and it'll cover the shy bill. The ones that I knew for sure the dollar amounts of. I did not know what the change orders would be, so that is not included in any of the figures. So at some point, we may need to do something if there's not enough funds left.
real quick, you said we owe 490, or we have 490 in the bank, but you're gonna transfer 73 more into it, so that would still, if we pay the 518, that would leave us with 40,000. In that.
Yeah, I think it was 39 something,
Okay,
but yeah,
But so you're adding extra in there for anticipated bills.
I'm adding, I wanted more in there because I knew we still owed Shive money and I wasn't sure about the change orders. But obviously the change orders could be more than $30,000.
So we really need to do the interfund transfer before we pay bills.
We need to do this before we write that
Yeah.
check to Batings today for sure. But otherwise, all that money is just gonna be sitting in that fund. Or I shouldn't say fund, it should be sitting in that checking account in case we need to make any more payments. And I know for sure we'll have one to Shive. And I'm assuming we'll have another one to Batings. I just don't know how much it'll be.
And my question is, what paying is where we use some of our
I
leverage
would agree.
to get everything settled.
So this,
And I'm not saying it's Beatty's issue.
No.
That's why I don't want to leave Batings out
Pardon?
Yes.
hanging dry.
it's no right here.
So wasn't the issue on the
10 million,
fire
So that's the
person
total contract price,
air conditioning, isn't
not
that
including change orders.
not part of the
Their
original
contract
contract?
price.
And the money that
That's not what we
Bating
spent.
is requesting is part of the.
That's what the
Original
total project
contract.
was supposed to cost if you would not have
So
made any changes.
that what they're asking for is
There's
not.
It should say on there what we paid on the first page.
I wouldn't call
and I
that
didn't bring my
they were
copy down.
included in the original amount we agreed on. I think they need to work out between them who's.
There's issues, with some of the stuff is not in the
Total
original
completed
contract, like
price.
the exit lights that fire chief
Yeah.
wanted, but those are issues that them are the
Getting
ones I'm
close.
worried about.
They're-
That's the ones I'm worried about.
That's why-
Fire-
So,
fire
so I,
equipment and
what we
everything.
approved today will exceed that
Well, it's the retainage, the 5 is
for
all.
the 518.
Yeah, but there's gonna be extras for change orders.
I mean, I have, I'm just bringing it up. for
Yeah.
discussion.
I understand that is leverage, but I also understand that, what's the contract say?
Dean's looking at it now, what you paid.
What's the
what we
question?
Do
have.
you think the contract says that we have to repay them at this point?
Oh, he was
Do
looking
we
at the
have
bill.
any leverage?
Well, it
I don't think there's
evidently
any
is.
dates on this.
Michael Lewis signed off on this, so. I mean, that's the only issue with that. I mean, there is 23,000. But, you know, that there's, I'll bet if you look in here, there's, some of that's for no detention, there's 8,558 for general conditions, so, I mean, that's what we got to work with.
Yeah, I would guess that if you want to do that, you're gonna have to do it today.
But, and I don't know that that's,
I don't see it as that much leverage, but. Good. What's the next step then? That's my question. If you use it as leverage, are you really gonna use it? That's.
So
you
was
have
the,
to- You have to have that.
I
in
wasn't
your
at the
mind
meeting,
before.
but was the issue, the change orders and the stuff that didn't get included in the contract that should have been included in the contract,
Well,
those
it's
type of
vague.
things?
It's vague.
some are and some aren't.
The two big ones are
Fire
the
grant.
air conditioning unit perhaps was under engineered what it needed in the room. So therefore does Chai Hattie, are they responsible for not specing it right? Yeah, it's the fire truck, which is buried in a spec, maybe kinda, and it's between those parties to figure out.
Those are the two big ones. The other ones are,
And we kind of made a commitment on fire. crew.
And we did.
We
in
did.
good faith, we did a third.
But that takes three of us to step up to the plate. Right now, only two of us are willing.
The other one wants to step up the plate, but not as much as the rest.
Yeah.
And you're right, this is probably,
You know, Batings needs to pay their contractors.
Yeah,
too,
I think you
so-
should go ahead and pay this, but
I just want to have a discussion on it.
No, and
I mean, there's right now, there's open dialogue on the two big
Mhm.
outstanding issues, so I don't see a reason not to pay it.
Well, and it's not inhibiting, you know, the only thing that it's inhibiting is that the door has to be open on that.
Right, it's
Server room.
everything's functional and
Yeah,
working.
everything's functional and
Yeah.
working. And I mean, there's obviously some, sheriff said there were some issues with some locks and some
There,
plumbing units and stuff
I
like
mean, right now,
that.
they've got 20 prisoners in there and it's functioning.
Didn't take long.
That's a lot of prisoners.
I think
20
we
and
should-
something, well, I'll go shut up.
I guess I'll make a motion that we approve the papers today.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have approved Class C liquor license for 4 Hours Tavern. I reviewed it and it all looks well. I'll make a motion to approve the Class C liquor license for 4 Hours.
I will second that.
It's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, authorize chair to sign proxy for Iowa Individual Health Benefits Reinsurance Association. Did you guys all take a look at this?
Where has this popped up? We've never done this before.
We have,
Oh, is that,
yeah. So since we're self-insured, we are members of this reinsurance association.
I never signed any.
Might not be every year,
Okay,
so.
okay.
but I don't, yeah. Court drive we have done it, so. I'll make a motion to authorize chair to sign for the proxy.
That's like,
It's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I was looking at my plaque. Who had the second on that?
Rich, thank you. We got 4 minutes.
Let's do the interfund transfer to make
Yeah.
sure that we can write a good check to pay the
Okay.
payrolls.
I put that underneath one, but we'll go ahead and I'm looking for a motion to approve interim transfer of $73,500 from
Local option,
to,
the jail capital.
I'll make that motion.
I'll say,
there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rebels,
yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Miners,
Yes.
Shetler.
Yes.
The motion carries. Pass this around.
We can approve the county comprehensive smart plan. And
Carrie will be up for that, I believe.
I think we'll have to wait for the rest of this. So we'll just wait for the public hearing in 3 minutes.
Committee reports.
Do you have a
By the
short?
time we get that signed, we'll be ready to go.
Yeah. I'll just wait. We got 2 minutes.
Slow.
Morning.
All right, it is 9:15. Item number 4 is for a public hearing fiscal year 23 proposed tax levy, and I'll go ahead and open it up to a public.
Okay, received no public comment on this. And there has been no changes since we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
And this is the proposed maximum.
Correct.
These maximum rates are the same as what we've got in our budget right now.
So urban is 4.30, well. Back up, this does not include the debt service.
Yeah.
Okay, but the levy does, if that makes sense. Because they don't have a levy rate per se on the max levy notice, which. Whatever.
Yeah, it's not
Our
a true-
levy-
Not a true picture, but it doesn't include that service.
Our levy including debt service, the urban will be 4.300166 and the rural will be 7.34381. And of that, let me look and see what the debt is. Of that, debt comprises 0.64966, or about $1.1 million.
I didn't get them.
3-4, right?
Yep.
4-3.
And since we do have a percentage increase on the general side, they want you to put an explanation. Obviously, everything costs more every year, but the big ones that I could think of, and you can add more to this if you can think of anything, but the courthouse, the HVAC project that we're gonna be doing, that's a huge part of it. And then, obviously, the salaries that were increased. So, because I think they allow you for 2%. And if you give 5% raises, that,
And you have to have the explanation to go with.
well, they want an explanation for like, what's the big things. Obviously, there's lots of small things, but those were the two that I came up with.
Increase the staff too.
Sure, yeah. So that's all I really have, unless anybody has any specific questions.
Ben, is there any comments online?
No comments online, no.
All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Item number 5 is resolution 2022-003 fiscal year 23 maximum property tax dollars.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2022-004.
Second that motion.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, roll call.
Houseman,
Yes.
Ruggles,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Miners,
Yes.
Shetler.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. I'll pass this one around too for signatures.
Next item is to set public hearing for fiscal year 23 county budget.
All right. Well, I'm proposing that we use March 28th at 9:15, which is kind of the drop dead date for us. So we either pick that day or we're gonna be late.
That's bringing it right.
Might be able to change.
It
the time,
is.
That's about it. huh?
Well, it is, and I thought we were doing good, but
Every year.
we had that week that we talked about things, and I think that week kind of threw me off, but that's fine. We're still gonna be, it's due the 31st. We're still gonna be a few days ahead of time, so.
We should have used those words around a person my age. Rough good day.
That's more to your age.
It's an inside joke.
So, I mean, and I have not made any changes to the budget since we had that meeting where we kind of finalized everything, so there has been no changes.
Because I've been dropping down from time to time anyway.
Yeah, you've been able to get up, so I guess.
That's
a good
right.
thing.
And I made it through last week. He's running around Dean, we survived. I stayed away from him on the steps just in case. We had a couple good laughs about that one. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
We do have another public hearing at 9:30. Will your presentation take long? I don't want to put any pressure. If it takes longer than 10 minutes, we'll just hold off.
No.
But are you good?
Can I get a motion to set the hearing for the
I'm sorry.
28th?
I'll take a motion.
Okay,
I'll second that.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to set the public hearing for March 28th. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Sorry about that.
oh, that's all right, thanks.
All right, Carrie?
We talked about this before, so it's basically just the contract from Region 12 to do the county comprehensive plan that hasn't been done for 11 plus years. So I really don't have a presentation. I mean, I assume you've gotten this and maybe hopefully had a chance to look through it. The money that they are asking is actually less than what we've set aside for this, so saving some money on that. But it's just one of those things that needs to get done, and they say it's a good time of year because of the new census and everything that's just been completed, so.
Does this comprehensive plan include all the communities into?
Yes, it's
Last
the
time
county
we-
comprehensive plan, so it
So
covers.
they
the entire-
pay a portion of this too, probably.
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay, we just,
Yeah, this is just the
I know the
county.
last time we've done it collective.
And I don't know anything about the last time. It's been a while since it was
You've been
done.
around for a while. too.
You probably fill me in.
I think you are right, though, they did bill a little bit, but I think, I remember them talking about it'd be better just to go have the county be the,
Lead. Because the last time I know that we did the counting and then each community had its own pieces. to it. So
Oh, well,
and they may do that, and then they'll bill the cities for their share.
I can ask.
Well, regardless, it's time to do it again.
You know about when it'll be completed, Jerry?
It's 10-year, but we're over 10
It's right here.
years.
Oh, because that's what I was thinking. I was thinking-
July of 23.
Yeah, that's over a year. It takes a while to do it. I'll make a motion that we approve the county comprehensive smart plan for Region 12.
And this is a 10-year plan.
Yep.
That's the thing.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Do you want me just to send that back? to
If
the-
you want,
Okay,
otherwise I can do it. Okay, whatever you want to do.
how about I just include you in the email, that way you have a
Okay.
copy too.
That's it. Anything else?
I don't know, you got anything else, Russ?
I'll see.
Do I have anything else for you?
Are you
Are
going to-
coming-
are
you're
you
coming
going to-
tonight?
Are you going tonight?
I am.
I shall see you there.
Now, I talked to Scott this morning. Do we want Scout Energy to come back to a full board meeting and have them talk about whatever their update is?
I think when I talked to them in 20, that's when we first contact we had with them, and it's been kind of on hold. But I told them then, I said, you gotta go to the airport commission. first."
Right.
And if they're okay, then you can come and start making your presentation to us.
Okay, because now they're looking at making those towers higher,
Yeah, I did see that. I did catch it 500 feet.
yeah, or more.
Well, I understand Crawford did changed their ordinance with the height about the setback.
They did their setbacks different.
Based on height, it's so many times the height.
Yeah, and since it's just across the county line, I mean,
I would assume that we should follow pretty close to what they're doing. That way, when they hit a guideline, they
I'm going to the Board of Health over there today. I'm hoping there'll be a couple of their supervisors there. I might ask them for information
Yep.
on what they have decided on over on.
I think
Their
they got
side?
that pretty well done on the zone. part.
Okay, so if they
From what I
can
got from Kyle.
either send me some information so we're not, or at least we're on the same page with them, not that we're
Yeah.
having the same issues that they're having over there with
right.
people being, questioning what's being done, but anyway,
Yeah, and then
Alright.
we'll put them through the hoops over here and
that's right.
see how we want to handle
Okay,
Thanks, Gary.
thank you.
it. See how that's put it this way, see how our citizens want to handle
You got-
We have another public hearing at 9:30 and it is 9:25. Don't really want to cut you short because I think one of your areas is going to take a little bit of discussion as far as the policy handbook. So we'll probably hold on if you've got 7 more minutes. I can do my committee report real quick. Last week I did attend the ISAC Spring Conference. And there was a lot of informal conversations that was probably more beneficial to me that happened outside of the conference itself. Yeah, I would have to say having conversations with other county supervisors was probably more beneficial to me. They had some good classes, but. And then I did spend the day at the Capitol and I was able to job shadow Mr. Brian Best. And then I did have the newspaper and radio last week. This week, I'm doing the Rotary in Coon Rapids on Wednesday, Thursday, and then potentially attending the legislative forum on Saturday. Not quite sure. Is that at New Hope at 10? Anybody aware? Brita? Okay. And that's it. Still got 3 minutes. Can anybody else go?
Sure. Last week, all I had last week was ISAC. And I also attended, we had a mental health meeting inside of the ISAC meeting. Trying to figure out what we're gonna do with the replacement of an employee or not. There is some job changes coming for some of the advocates. And we're trying to decide whether that's gonna relieve time and maybe not fill, but unfortunately, that does not leave us a full-time advocate in this region, part of the region. But I mean, it can be handled. It's just there won't be anybody living in this area, and that's still up for discussion, and that will continue. This week, I'll be going to the airport commission meeting tonight. I have Region 12 on Thursday. And I guess I'm doing the newspaper and radio again.
I hear the violins.
I can go next. Last week I had landfill meeting Tuesday morning. This week I have RSVP and foster grandparents. Tomorrow afternoon, Friday, I have second judicial district. I'll be at the forum as well.
Oh, I forgot about that forum Saturday. I'll probably try to get that also.
Okay, I can go next if we got time here.
2 minutes.
Well, I might take 5. Last week, I was at ISAC. I did think there was some, particularly the last session I went to, IT. They had a session and they just did question and answers. It was more beneficial than any of them. They did not even put a presentation out. There was, I thought a lot of the sessions were good. That first one that they had on the 10 things, habits of effective counties, I did only part of that because I had to go to the scholarship breakfast. The other thing I thought that morning in the general session, that young lady we picked to do the speech for the rest of the scholarships, were you talking about somebody male?
Yeah, that was pretty good. She was very good.
Yeah. But anyway, so I was at ISAC last week. This week I have I've got CADC tomorrow at noon, and then Yes Center on Friday, and then probably I'm don't know if I'll be able to make the tax coming also that morning too. And then also on Wednesday, the Farm Bureau's going to have a tour of the jail that I got set up. So that's my week this week.
All right, we're gonna pause there and we're gonna go to the 9:30 public hearing for Richland Custom Bond Home Site. Go ahead and open that up.
Rich, are you going to CADC too?
No, I will not. I'm
Sorry,
Gonna
Courtney, I'm
be
gonna
a-
have you jump.
gonna be at
That's
Wolf
all right.
Clinic tomorrow
Okay,
at noon.
okay,
So,
just checking. I'm just gonna put it on
no.
Do you have any contact and
there. Just a second. No, I have heard no public comment. For the public's benefit here. What they're doing. Okay, so this is at an existing location. They're proposing to construct a new deep pit addition onto an existing swine finishing confinement building. So their current capacity is 1,320 animal units, and when they're done, it'll be 3,300. So the DNR requires us to, if we want to make comment, to hold a public hearing. So that's what we're doing. And like I said at the beginning, I have not heard anything as far as public comments.
So they're just adding a deep pit and then they're gonna go from certain, you see how many?
1,300 to 3,300.
So I wonder if they ain't taking the nursery part out, and just doing all finished.
I am not an expert on
Well, that's a big increase.
pigs.
Because you go from, you don't use as many animal units on the nursery side. And you go to finishing, that's what I'm thinking of doing.
I don't think it relates.
But they're not adding any more buildings, are they? That's what I think they're doing.
Then, is there any public comment online?
None currently, no.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close the public hearing at 9:32. Do we have to do anything else? Motion?
No, what I'll do is I'll forward a letter to the DNR that the board held the hearing, received no comments and have no issues
All right.
with it unless somebody has an issue.
All
Today
right.
they have no today they have no issues.
And they can file issues with the DNR if they'd like to also.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they're the final.
All right, item number 9 is ambulance department. The item A is to approve a 28E agreement with Crawford County. We've kind of had this discussion. Been waiting on this 28E for a while, but I think everybody's fully aware, and I'll let Jamie go ahead. Good morning, Jamie. I'll let Jamie go ahead and kind of explain what's.
Kind of like we talked before, it's basically, we're gonna be responding to the response area for West Side Fire and EMS. I had maps made up and it's been added to our side as far as with Sarah. Right now, it's just a formality thing. There was a miscommunication on Crawford's part, and they actually implemented this first part of February. And instead of reverting it, we've just been responding. We did have 5 calls in about 2 weeks, and then we haven't had any since. But the yearly call volume is supposed to be around 20, with more than 75% of those being non-transports. In a kind of a separate agreement, there is a charge that West Side Fire is going to cover for $1,500 a year. Basically, that just covers the non-transports. The ones that we transport, we get reimbursement for. So it's fuel and time essentially. But other than that, they're going to supply their own training and their materials, with the exception of the transports that we do, and we'll reimburse them for that since we get reimbursed. That's kind of what we had come up with.
And are you fine with the 1-year agreement? I know it can be.
And that's what we talked about, was doing the 1 year, see how it works and go from there. If the call volumes are way higher, there'll be adjustments. I don't foresee it being any lower, but it's just it'd be something where we'll review it after a year, and then the transport agreement also is set up the same way.
One thing is that there's any issues, it just renews automatically.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
One of the questions I had, they gonna follow underneath your protocols?
No, they'll be underneath Crawford's protocols. The only thing, they're gonna be responding as Westside first responders. We're gonna be responding as the primary ambulance. They will essentially get the patient into our ambulance, and unless we need a driver, then they're done with that patient. And then I did check with our vehicle insurance, and we do not have to specify who drives. It's just as long as I approve them and they have a valid driver's license, they're able to drive and they are covered. I don't foresee having to do that very often, but it could be 3 times a week, and it may be never, just.
Well, I'm sure you check them. I'm sure the protocols are similar to ours anyway.
Yeah. And with the EMT service, that's pretty straightforward in what they can do.
The medical protocol, that was my next question, because I know that there will be probably a physician or somebody in Crawford County that writes the rules, and one over here that writes the rules. Are they
Right.
kind of
They're
basically the same?
They're basically the same, yeah, and they'll just follow, the hospital kind of sets that forth. So they'll just continue to follow theirs like they always have.
Okay. Until we take them and then.
No, we're basically just assisting them. We're not
Okay.
taking it over. We're just helping them in a sense. The response from Crawford
Okay.
can sometimes be iffy with their staffing.
Jamie, do you have a map?
I don't have one with me.
Okay, I guess the question that I have is, does this allow, I mean, it's not West Side, but it's Crawford County, does this allow Rita ambulance to go into Crawford County?
Yep.
It does.
Yeah, this is for Carroll County ambulance, and Breda Medic 5 is also part of that.
Okay. Because I think that's been a big,
Manning already responds part of Crawford County.
okay,
That's something that they've had kind of off the books for a while. Manning's response area really won't change a whole lot. It's going to be more for Carroll and Breda, and Breda's isn't going to be that much. It adds about 5 miles is all it adds on to going to the west.
it adds 5 miles,
Yeah, so we're going further west 5 miles for West Side's
Okay.
response area.
and it's just not across the Crawford County line. Yeah. So, because I mean, it's a 6 mile corner is Crawford County.
Yes, you have, was it Aspen where the Carroll County line is,
Mhm.
and then we go to, I'm trying to think of the street.
Crawford County,
It's in Crawford County.
that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that we could go into.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this is, and this is more of a formality, because we have with every surrounding county, we have a contingency agreement saying that if they're overrun, that we can come in and help them out essentially. Yeah,
So, I mean, in the past, it was always if you went into Crawford County and you had to take someone to the hospital, they had to go to Crawford County. Does that change? I mean, if somebody wants to go, they're in West Side, but they prefer to go to St. Anthony Regional Hospital, can they do that?
they can, then that's already being done, even with Crawford responding to them, they already bring them, because they have the St. Anthony's Clinic in West Side. So the majority of West Side is serviced by St. Anthony's, and they want to come here. We did take one patient to Crawford for their request, and it boils down to closest appropriate facility, so it depends on what they've got going on. You know, St. Anthony's, unless you're on the far west side of the response area, St. Anthony's is closer.
I have no questions.
Motion to approve the 2080 agreement.
I'll second that.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, Jamie, you want to discuss your employee handbook and the changes?
With some of the union negotiations, part of it wasn't appropriate to be in there, didn't need to be in there, so I've been doing some changing to the addendum and adding things like the uniform requirements and training requirements and stuff like that. We did have an instance where one of the staff did not keep their certifications up to date, and this is just more for clarification purposes. There was some, like in the 216 hours of holiday, it was in there as 264, it's just a typo essentially, I just corrected that. But I kind of gave rationales for everything that I was going through and doing. I don't know if anybody has questions on those, but.
And you have discussed this with your staff?
Yeah, I gave it to Wendy, Kenny, and Weston. And then I also gave it to Will. He reviewed it and gave his suggestions. And then I opened it up to the entire staff to come to me if they wanted a copy. And nobody else did, so.
And again, this was all previewed at the union negotiations.
This was not, but there was portions of this that was in the union contract that was kind of where we were gonna take it out and put it in here.
Would you work with Renee on this too?
This shouldn't have anything to do with Renee. This is a county
Well, I
thing.
mean, just so it don't interfere with you. Well, I'm getting out.
Yeah, there's nothing in here that is also in the union contract. If I remember correctly. But I can sure reach out to her and have her take a look at it. If you still want to.
I think at one time these were in the union contract, and then after the rules changed and they couldn't negotiate any of this stuff, then it
Right.
got removed. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where I was adding in the education stuff in the original revision of the union contract that I came up with, and Renee, that's when she said it doesn't need to be in here, so. And they were in agreement with me just adding it to the addendum. All the other handbook stuff applies for the county, it's just, this is just basically above and beyond or special for the ambulance, because we're kind of a,
Specific to-
yeah.
Yeah, you're animal of your own kind.
The hours and the on-call, and to the average layman, it's just like, what are you talking about?
I personally still would like to have Renee just to the plans.
I can send it to her, make sure there's.
I just want to make sure there's no conflict. With unions and stuff. You don't need any more issues.
Is that
I
the
mean,
board
from what
pleasure?
from what I read, it looks so fine, but, you know,
I will say with these changes though, and this is just a suggestion, I would make a copy for every employee and have them sign them.
Yeah, well, you want me to do that prior to putting anything in service? What my intentions were is I have hand each and every one of them a copy of it. And then have them sign a paper saying that they received that copy and they understand any of the changes.
We're gonna have the county attorney review it before it becomes formal.
I kind of was leaving that up to the board suggestion, so.
well, I
Renee-
think if you have Renee do it,
She's
does
HR
our
plus
union.
union.
that person.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I think just have her take a look at it. I mean, I would have no problem proving this subject to Renee's. Fine.
I agree.
And then being she's doing it for you, right? I just want to make sure there's no conflict.
She's HR as well.
No,
No,
No, she didn't.
you're HR.
no.
Who's HR?
Technically me, but I rely on John when it comes to handbook issues. So, I mean, if you're wondering if this is legal and we're treating our employees fairly, he'd be the one to talk to.
I think we
Renee's
should
not an
be John
attorney.
versus Renee, because of the, she has no, I guess she's not a lawyer, and that's my only stopping here.
It might be the safest route to go, just in case anything would pop up.
Yeah, my suggestion is I didn't want any conflict in contract.
And he has availability to the union contract as well to compare them. If that's the route you guys want to go. And this
you
doesn't
know,
have to be immediate. It's just, this is just like things that I just feel need to be in place because we've got the new staff that's going to be coming on when the others retire. You know, they come to me with these questions and they're like, well, where does it say that at? Well, it's not there. This is just a lot of the verbal stuff we've been doing for years is just not in the agenda.
Get rid of some of the gray. It gets rid of-
It's just
gets
part of
down
being
to
the first year
black and
director,
white.
just
Yeah.
reviewing everything.
That's right.
So when do you have new employees? So you could kind of, if you do hand this on, or I can hand it on to John to say, we'd like to have maybe completion by, an answer by, when do you have new employees?
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Would you like me to send that?
Sure. And I can, if you want one without all my rationale, or it might make him, because there too, it's like you say, we're a different breed, so. If my rationale's in there, then he can kind of see where I'm coming with it, if he doesn't understand, It does take working in this profession to understand it.
as far as an either or, Renee or John, same for both. They may come up with two different items that they point. I don't know.
Well,
I guess you can look at it too much too, and
Yeah, like I said, that means this is going more into the handbook, I know Courtney's, like you stated, really leans on John for handbook authority.
Well, and we redid our handbook not that long ago, but.
Yeah.
I think it's something that needs to be looked at. Again,
And the last time that was done. Has Renee done our-
she did it and we paid quite a bit to have her do that. And after the fact, county attorney had proposed that he would be willing to do it as well, and I don't know if there was gonna be a fee associated with that or not. but That's a discussion for another time. Maybe put that on the agenda for a couple weeks from now. Because there are some things even in the county handbook that could definitely be clarified.
Could
Sure.
stand a-
You know, just when we get it updated, then somebody says, what about this? We just
Why didn't you
did
bring
it.
it up before?
Where were you 3 weeks ago?
Well, I can send this on to the county attorney. And I'll just try and put a 2 weeks preferably.
Yeah.
And I'll send the one with your rationale, the red.
Are you guys okay if John would give his blessing on the changes of him being able to implement it upon John's okay, or do you want to have, because if it takes him a week and a half, he might not be able to approve it till the next week, and then,
I think we go ahead and vote on approving it per John's blessing.
Yeah.
And if any changes need to be made, as long as John's blessing is there, then that's done. Okay.
This guy's legal opinion on it, I'm okay with it.
All right. Should we have a motion to that effect?
yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea.
I'll make a motion that we send the review, the changes to the county attorney for his review.
So does your uh, motion want to include that we're gonna approve it today and then,
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, and also to approve it on his review.
I'll second that. But can we get a date on it also, Jamie, as far as that way the employees know they have the most current revision, because I don't see a
Yeah.
revision number in there on it.
Yeah,
But I think it should be dated.
yep, I can do that.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
aye,
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, the last item on
Tell
our,
Steve he's welcome.
What's that?
Tell Steve he's welcome. We started this 3 years ago when he asked me.
Steve Mum.
Sign it, well, I know the fire chief over there, so I'll have him sign it next couple days, and then once
All right.
I get the sign part for you guys.
Thank
I think actually we can do it with the chairperson.
Could be. Everything went to ditch that year, I'm telling you.
All right, the last item on the agenda is discuss lead-based paint / asbestos testing for the courthouse remodel. Jean and I received a email from SEH. To go forward, we do need to have a company come in and do testing on the areas that we'd be remodeling or touching original spots.
Demolition.
Jean had a good idea, and Dean had mentioned down in Des Moines that Region 12, was it you that said Region 12 does lead-based paint?
Yeah.
Was it you? Somebody had said it.
Yeah, through this whole conversation, John had suggested maybe if we didn't have anybody, there was an outfit out in Omaha, and I got thinking, I knew Region 12 did lead base. And I thought they possibly did asbestos, but they do not. And Chris never got back to me what he thought it would cost to do lead testing in here. And he suggested Randy Bloom, which used to work for Region 12, he's got his own service out of Oregon. And he said he'll do a good job and it'll be a lot cheaper than somebody else. I don't know.
He has asbestos.
Yeah, he does
He
asbestos.
tests
Oh, okay.
asbestos.
Actually, I see he's in the claims today for a bridge.
For bridge.
Yeah. So we've been using him through secondary roads already. I don't know if we need to get, do you think we need to get another quote from anybody or?
You know, that I'm sure the COG's gonna do it as cheap as they can do it.
That's
As cheap as anybody will. I have a meeting Thursday. I'll try to get them pinned down, whether they'll do the lead base and when they can do it. And make double sure about this asbestos deal.
Well, I can, I got Randy, he gave me Randy's phone number, I can give Randy a call.
So, yeah, I mean, you'd have to find out the dollars.
Yeah.
If he's gonna charge $15,000, we better have a couple estimates.
That's what
for
I
sure.
think too.
But if it's
Yeah.
like $1,500, which I probably
Well-
won't be, but the lead-based paint might not be that bad.
When we were down to ISAC, one of the projects you're involved with, there's a county has somebody doing it that was in the register. The other companies asked for open records and wants those quotes now they're going after them. Because they did not get a second bid. So that's why I'm kind of concerned too. I think we need to, I'll reach out and see what, and I think if they got questions, we need to have, reach out to John. How much they want.
Randy may do both. He may still have his lead base from when he worked with Region 12. I don't know.
I don't know that,
Whether there's certification to keep up or not, I don't know.
I don't know that he's got the lead. I can ask him.
He might.
But I mean, Region 12, we're paying for them anyway. And why would we use our local stuff?
Yeah.
So I'll get a quote, try to get an idea from, and if you run into issues with how much they do, have them call John out to Omaha. Where, how many things, how many tests we need or what area. And I'll reach out to Randy, if that's okay with the rest.
Yeah. No. How does, new opportunities test for lead? Do
They
they?
do lead too, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, they do that, but they probably don't do it commercially. I mean, I think they do it, they go into homes and
They
they
do
test lead.
mostly home, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if they contract out through.
yeah, that's what I was wondering, but
I'll ask. I'll try to remember
They-
to ask about that one too.
I think they lost their lead person too on
do you do
that.
that?
I just found that out the other day.
No, I'm okay with what you're doing there, Gene. But yeah,
And I don't
think we
know
want
that-
to, I don't think we want to get into a situation where we don't.
Looking it up.
Yeah, we don't want
Okay,
any surprises, that's for sure.
I will call up, try to get a rough figure on it.
Is there a magic number? Like, as far as like an estimate, you know, if it's $5,000 and you should have more than one bid or, you know?
Well, yeah, I think there is a threshold, isn't there?
Why don't you check with that?
I thought it was
I thought
25.
one of you all were gonna know that. Okay, I'll look, see if I can find that in the code
I'm
somewhere.
thinking it's higher than
I was thinking 25, but it very well could be a percentage of a project too, so. I don't know whether that's the total project or the little pieces of the project.
Well, if it's for the project, I'd probably take all of our recovery dollars and use that percentage,
Yeah.
you know, because even if you are doing HVAC and you need to do the asbestos and lead for that, you also would need to do it if you're remodeling.
that. Well,
Any
and I
space
think
as well.
once you do one, if you do one with the ceiling tile, if they're all the same, you don't have to do it all over.
Sure.
So I think
You
there's-
gave yourself an action item, Courtney.
That's all right. I need to look something else up too, so.
Well, I think we've had that discussion at one
I'd
point
like
in
to know
time.
what it is.
I remember that, but I think it's considerably higher.
Before you get into the quote or where you're.
So-
Well, I thought it was like 50,000.
We probably just check. We should know that.
Would be safer to check that.
So that's, and yet, that takes care of that. One. When I got rushed on my committee reports, there is one other issue I want to bring up on my committee report. I think I've all visited with you that Luann Mauer is thinking about renting some additional space over the Turkey building, those two other offices that are on the west side. I wanted to check with Courtney if they were available and what was in them and how much square feet they are. So Courtney and I just did a little rough up there compared to what they're paying now, rent square footage, it'd be like another $152. I would suggest we say that we would rent them for another $200 a month. I don't think that should be negotiable because they negotiated the last time with us.
So which two are those?
There, as you come and go back in there's a room on this side, but they're in that west suite.
They're on the right side, correct?
Aren't they
You walk
down
in
by
the
like,
back
kind of
door.
like by the bathroom and that little break room back there?
you're coming in from the north, and as you go back in their suite, and there, most of their stuff is ordered, but there's two off.
That first door,
Yeah.
okay,
Two on, but it's nothing to do with on the east side. It's all
Okay.
on the west suite. But
We were looking at one public defender, but now that's gonna be here.
Well, yeah, I thought it was still over there, and as I visited with John, he thought it was still over there, but Courtney and you.
They like that evidence room.
Yeah, so if you drop that off to John, tell him that has been changed to over here. So,
Dropping what off?
aren't you gonna
I
drop
emailed
that?
it already.
I'll take care of it then.
And I do, and
It's in the radio.
I kind of dropped the ball on Friday when I was doing the agenda. 'Cause we have a lease from the state of Iowa for that small space. They want us to approve for them renting
For a public defender.
for the public defender. So we can do that next week. And then
What
Ashton
happens-
has all the quotes for the scanning project, so we get those two. They're gonna give us, I think, $120 a year.
$10 a month.
Whoa.
Yeah,
But at first, I didn't think we were getting anything, so.
Yeah.
And then as far as I know, the room's cleaned out, so they can kind of,
So is it agreeable that I negotiate with you?
that's fine.
I'm gonna stay at that. That's it. I think it's worth that today.
I'll be with you.
Your back's gotta get sore.
I know, kidding. Shoulder's gonna get slow.
yeah, one more.
He's talking still, so Dean, you're up.
oh, okay, sorry. So last week I had, there was a Board of Health meeting on Tuesday evening. The Board of Health just basically discussed the review and steps forward. Nothing was really actually voted on, just discussion. And then I went to ISAC. Yeah, you know, the notes that I put down here were, I would have liked to have gone to that 10 steps. But that wasn't on any agenda.
Who's part of one of the,
Affiliate.
The affiliate and the
no, what
affiliate
they
agenda.
call it,
I don't know how much I had to look, but I didn't, I would have attended that had I seen it. It was about half over when I saw that it was.
It's not on my agenda, but I would have missed it.
well,
anyway
it's the
because I got mental
educational,
health thing,
it's
so.
part of the educational seminars on the agenda. That's what
Okay.
it was.
They did have some really good
There was
points.
3 different sessions you could go to.
Oh,
This is one of them.
Courtney can make a copy of this, so you can just browse through it if you want to. There's a couple good points, like things
I'll
that I
just take a
think,
look at it quick.
things I think we could do better as a county, but like mission statement, goals, like a 5-year goals. How to help somebody that's newly elected coming into the position that may not know.
Swimmer drown.
May not know about sex.
But we do have a mission statement.
Still gurgling.
Yeah, we do.
What's our mission statement?
I don't know. It's, we
I
have one
think I
though.
got my,
We have one, but what is it?
We do. I just don't know.
that was not good.
Now it's on the floor.
There goes our mission statement.
Well, so that was the only thing that I thought, is that they can make some of that stuff a little more clear. And then I have down here the mental health session on Thursday. I don't know, it wasn't for everyone, it was for Rich, it wasn't, I mean, it was pretty.
Yep.
Pretty detailed discussion that I don't think anybody.
You
else
could have
really-
probably pulled 30 people out of that thing and they would have understood it.
Yeah.
The rest of it was just,
Stuff.
yeah, it's just stuff there.
Yeah, and I thought kind of the same thing with the American Rescue Plan. That was kind of the same way. I mean, there wasn't much for us. I didn't think for us to listen to there because,
We'd already cut and dried what we
Yeah,
were gonna do.
yeah.
Well,
Now, obviously, not that it wasn't important to a lot of people. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But,
there was one in there, though, I did check out that American Rescue Program. And what did you put in there for lost revenue? 0? And I think we can change that now, which gives us more flexibility. this next reporting,
Yeah.
when you report next time, you might want to look at that.
But how do you change it? What
How do
you
we, how do
base
I,
it on?
how do I do that when we got more?
You're
Our
already-
lost actually went up. From the period prior to that. Like the COVID dollars were more than the,
Because they're saying anybody that's getting under 10 million,
Mhm.
that lost revenue is not, they've changed that all. So basically, in essence, we can utilize it for anything, even though we said jail. So you don't have that restriction.
But that's not hinged on the reporting lost revenue though, is it?
Well, but I think you want to look at changing it. From what
But how,
from what I got.
you know, when I talked to Richard Crouch, he was sitting right behind me, I said, did you guys claim, how much you claim? He claimed 0. So how do you come up with a number? How, you know?
I don't think you have to come up with a number.
they have a formula on how to calculate it. But I guess when I looked at ours, we actually got more. We were collecting more loss than prior. So I'm like, well, how do you claim that you had any, a loss or that you didn't get enough if you were actually getting more revenue than you were prior? Because when I did it, then when I used that formula that they had, my number was negative because I collected more we collected more revenues.
Well,
I don't
saying check into it,
I will.
because the thing is that what it does, by doing that, it gives us more flexibility. We aren't under such strict regulations as far as where we use the money.
Correct.
So it gives us more flexibility.
But we already have flexibility. We just can't use it towards already occurred debt, correct?
Right. Well.
So by the time you figure it out, it's gonna change again.
Well, no,
I
that was
do
the
have, I
final,
have a report that's due in April.
Yeah.
So,
that's, I guess, just look at that.
Look into
as-
that. Yeah.
If nothing else, ask ISAC.
I will.
I know that by doing that, we're not under such restrictive guidelines.
I'm afraid that the HVAC quote's gonna come back and it's gonna be right up or real close to that $3.9 million mark. And then how do we do everything else? That's my concern.
Well, I think,
We'll discuss that in the.
Do you think just the electrical and HVAC without any?
Do you think their estimate that they gave us is
They
off?
know exactly how much we're getting. I'm betting it's awful close.
Just knowing how things go,
Mm.
it just seems like it's, that
And you
money's
still have to
gonna-
bid it out.
Yeah, that
That's
money's
true.
just
Now,
gonna go really
There's
still
quickly.
have
been
to bid
multiple
it out.
people looking at.
Yeah.
That was one of the other things that was kind of a topic of conversation is there might be a pullback on the second payment. Boy, that
Oh,
got a
yes.
lot of people's attention.
they even possibly the first, they were saying,
Yes,
they basically said, get it spent.
yeah. Get it earmarked, get it
Because
spent.
Congress was thinking about pulling that back, pulling it back.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting for my
Changing the
FEMA
dates.
money.
What's
Yeah.
that?
I'm still waiting for my FEMA money.
Oh, good luck with that. I mean, they take years.
And it's only like 40-some thousand dollars, but
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
I know Richard Crouch has been waiting for 40 million down there in Mills County for.
When were those floods? 3
Did-
years
did-
ago?
yeah. Did you hear him talk about the levees?
Yeah.
No.
Corps of Engineers built theirs 3 feet higher than Hamburg's new levees. But they told him, don't worry, because that won't affect their site. And Richard told me, he says, I wonder where they got their engineering degree at.
Courtney,
That
what
was
do we
an
have on the
interesting
agenda
conversation.
for this week? Next week.
So, yeah, that was last week.
Oh, shoot,
This
sorry.
week,
We got off topic. I think we're done.
I'll finish and then you guys.
Okay.
This week I have a conservation board meeting tonight and an east-west Mishkabatna meeting on Wednesday. And, I don't plan to attend these in person. Some of the, like east-west, I mean, we'll do Zoom and this gas is getting too expensive to be driving around all over the place.
It is.
Super
It is.
So that's it for me.
What do we got for next week, Courtney?
It's gonna be pretty quiet. So I'll have that, since I omitted it from this week, I'll have the state of Iowa lease for that I'm gonna call it the evidence room space. And then Ashton has all the quotes back for the scanning project. So she'll have those ready and we can look those over. And hopefully I'll have some answers on the threshold on multiple bids. And then we have got, and I know they talked to Rich about the township clerk's compensation. I got that on here that I need to look that up too.
Yeah.
I know that the Board of Supervisors sets their meeting rate, you know, the 30 or 35 an hour or a meeting, whatever it is. But as far as what the clerk is compensated, I need to find out if that's a Board of Supervisor decision or a township decision.
Township trustee.
I'm pretty sure it's a township decision, that all our townships are the same. Maybe, so.
Okay.
Something I can report back on that.
Thank
I can find the answer.
I had that on a post-it. Thank you. I had that on a post-it to remember to do this. Thank you.
Why don't you put back on there about the lead and that's.
Oh, okay. So,
We'll have more information. Gene and I have both.
Ben, is there anything online?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
Madam Chairman. Chairperson.
Sorry.
We're not-
No, madam.
I'll second it.
there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.